Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. Let's click resume, and last time we left off, we had just built all of the machines to make yellow science, but we hadn't actually made yellow science yet because we are missing titanium ore. So, let's go and get that sorted out. So step one is going to be finding some way of clearing my inventory out of all this junk. Because currently I couldn't bring back more than a tiny amount of titanium ore if I wanted to. So let's fly over here. So I'm pretty sure I have a box or two over here that can be used. Although it might be full for all I know. Okay, so here's a box. And we just have to throw all of this junk away. And, okay, this box is officially full. Fortunately, we have another box up here. So we just keep tossing away junk. We'll keep the combustible units, obviously. And some of this stuff isn't junk necessarily, but is stuff that I would use eventually, but won't be needed for this trip in particular. So yeah, let's just clear my inventory completely, I think, except for the, what are they called? The combustible units. Combustible units that we're using for fuel.
Mineral depleted.
So we're just gonna get an additional stack of boxes, throw all this stuff away, and
Mineral depleted.
this is what we have now. Alright, so we're starting to deplete veins, which is not ideal, but hopefully fine. So now we have everything. Let's grab another stack of fuel just in case. You can never have too much of the stuff. So now we can stand next to this charging thing. And while we do that, we need to go to the star map and find that planet. What was it? This one. Okay. So actually the hive is sort of right there, which is not ideal. So we're actually going to have to wait a little bit to get there, or alternatively just go around it somehow. So if we like go out that way around to the left of the star, then we can make it work. Okay, so now we can get ourselves oriented, and
Flight mode.
up we go.
Cruise mode.
Launching into space. And we are gonna go this way. Okay. And I just realized I didn't put combustible units in the actual fuel chamber. Okay, so we are... I don't know how far around the hive we need to go. Like, if I just get really close to the star, do I hopefully not have to go literally all the way around it? And it's just difficult to say. But we're going to try. So we just turn a little bit this way. And let's hope this works. And if it doesn't, then we'll just have to respawn or whatever. I haven't done much this game, so I could just reload the save from when we just started. Okay, almost there. And let's just slow down a little bit,
Cruise
and then we
ended.
land. Okay, so now we're on the planet, and we've actually conveniently landed right next to... Well, that's a copper. No, yeah, that is a titanium setup. I don't know why the titanium looks very red. So we are up there. We just need to head south. We don't even need to head that far south. There we go. Hopefully that annoying hive will get out of the way before we have to return.
Flight mode.
Okay, we just hop over that. And now we can just grab all of this. So let's just fill up our inventory as much as possible. And so now that's the entire inventory except for the couple stacks of combustible units. So that's nice and quick. And we don't have any defenses here. And there is technically dark fog threat on this planet, which is not ideal, but hopefully it won't cause everything to break completely. So now we just target back to there, and this time we've moved so that we don't have to mess with the hive. So let's just get going. Our fuel supply is being burned a lot, so I can actually, because of that, grab an additional stack, which is convenient. Alright, now we just launch,
Cruise mode.
and off we go. So now we just have to make our way back. And our home planet doesn't even have any dark fog on it, so that won't be an issue. So off we go. And this is going to provide so much titanium for us that will hopefully last us for a good long while. We'll have to see how exactly the science is doing. So we are almost there. Can get us to go a little bit faster. ETA of 24 seconds. So we just cruised on through space. I cannot wait until we have upgrades to make this whole power regeneration thing go faster so that we can zip around the solar system better. Alright, and here we go.
Cruise ended.
We have successfully landed, and we've actually landed
Flight mode.
right here. Alright, so we need to find a recharging tower thing. There's just right over here. So we walk over this way, and we can stand here for a little bit. And between actually using the fuel chamber for once and having the energy charging thing, we should be able to power up relatively quickly. And it looks like drones are trying to deliver stuff to me, which is going to be difficult for them. But once we drop off all this titanium, then we'll have the free space for that. So we just have to fly all the way down here to the area where I did all the smelting stuff. So we just fly down this way, and somewhere in here there ought to be a box. Yeah, right here. Alright, so that gets all of the titanium, and we're going to need more boxes. We're going to need more boxes to put the other half of this titanium in. So let's figure out where those are. Those are up here somewhere. Yeah, right here. So we pick those up, and let's pick up all of the obviously useful stuff. We're not going to pick up the inserters because those are a whole separate... Actually, we should just... Rather than picking items up from scratch, we should just go up here and grab what we need out of these boxes. So, grab all of this stuff, and we already have a lot of the things that are in there. Spray coaters, assembly machines, power poles, smelters, and loaders, foundations. We've got a lot of these things already. So then we can go to here, and I think that's basically most of the stuff that we need. There are a couple miners in there, but we don't really need those. And then I need to drag some of these guys into my inventory as opposed to in that weird spot over there. And that ought to be good. Okay, so now we can fly down and dump off the rest of the titanium now that we have the boxes for it. And that should last us a while. I mean, this is a very large amount of titanium. And the smelting is not very fast. We're probably going to need to upgrade that. Although we might need to upgrade something else first. And yeah, the yellow science that we were researching for high-strength titanium alloy is ticking down over time, just as we would expect it to. And we should have a significant backlog of red and blue. Alright, we have a lot of blue, not so much of red. So, now we get to do the fun part of figuring out what's wrong with all of our science productions. So, we head down to you. You are... Let's see, so these ones up here, which don't have enough. They have enough graphite, but not enough hydrogen. Okay, so... The problem with the hydrogen supply is, first of all, we're not making enough refined oil and not enough hydrogen, so we can just add more of those machines in general. Where's that? Should be pretty easy to spot, right? Because it's a whole different type of machine. Yeah, this guy back here is the only oil refining machine that we have. So, let's go about fixing that. Just pop out some area for that. And this is oil refining. Let's get a couple of those in. And how do we change the amount of these that we're placing to anything other than a 3x3? I forgot. But whatever, it's fine. We can just waste some. Alright, so now we need to go and just place more of these guys down. Somehow we're still just short of getting another one. So there we are. And hopefully that will be enough oil refining for everything. So now we get belts, which attach up there and there. So then we need to get these on and give them their filters. So the near belt here is the refined oil, and the far belt there is the hydrogen. So that should be all set up. And we just get a power pole in. Okay, now if we just attach the input belt, then this should be good to go. Oh, and we also have to put the recipe in, obviously. So that goes across. And all the rest of these guys get sorters. And then they get recipes. And the last one gets a power plant. Alright, so this is, it says 15 per minute, but I don't actually know what that is in terms of ratio. So it's, yeah, so every 4 seconds you get 1 hydrogen, 2 refined oil. So it's 15 hydrogen, 30 refined oil per minute per machine. So this is 60 hydrogen and 120 refined oil per minute.
Flight mode.
Alright, so that is a reasonably high amount. And, alright, now the titanium is backlogging, actually. So, now we can head up here, and apparently we got it wrong. Apparently we put the filters in wrong, because that is not consistent. Alright, back here we go. How did we get these filters wrong? Oh, I just got them all backwards somehow, because I was going right versus left instead of near belt versus far belt. So we need to just completely flip those around. So the near belt is hydrogen, the far belt is refined oil, instead of being the other way around, which would honestly make more sense. Okay, so now that's fixed. Now we just need to go all the way down all the belts that use these and get them fixed up. So the hydrogen stuff, this is purely an overflow system, which isn't needed. Then this belt is going to be going all the way down this way, and we're going to need to drain out that belt until it starts working. There we go. So that's that one fixed. Now we drain out this belt until it's working, and that's fixed. And then we're going to have to run down this way. And so that's supposed to be refined oil, and most of this stuff is. So we just have to drain that chunk out. And we've successfully researched titanium alloy, which is very neat. So then the next thing we wanted to do was interstellar logistics system, so that we can automate going to other planets and such. Okay, so now we need to fix this belt, which needs to be just refined oil and not any hydrogen. Okay, so this fixed? That's fixed. I believe the refined oil belt has all been repaired. And the hydrogen belt was in such high demand that it wasn't really broken at all, so hopefully that is all good. So that looks like it's all working. Now, let's investigate what's going on down here with the yellow science. So you are not getting anywhere near enough titanium crystals. You've got plenty of diamonds. And these guys are not getting enough organic crystals. So that is... So you're doing 10 organic crystals a minute. You are trying to use way more than that, so I think this just needs to be expanded. Oh, and I didn't ever actually automate chemical plants. Really ought to do that at some point. So we need steel, stone, glass, green circuits. Alright, let's just fly down this way where most of those things should be more accessible. Green circuits, check. And then we just keep on flying until we find the rest of them. So, steel, stone, and glass. Where are you? I think it would be easier to find. You'd think it would be easier to find than what it currently is. Okay, here's stone. And here's glass. Oh, and then steel was something which we hadn't done until, like, weirdly late in the bus, so it's actually all the way down here. I think... Yeah, here's the steel. So we grab all that, and then we can find the chemical plants, queue up, crafting a couple of those, and now we fly back down this way.
Replication complete.
So this gets a chemical plant, and the plastic also needs more chemical plants to keep up. So we are going to just put in another one of you, and another 2 of you, maybe. And now we just have to get all of these guys connected. So the belts go forwards, and the sorters go in. And you can make us some plastic. And then the output goes like that. Alright, so that is that set up. Now we can bring these belts back to here. And then that one as well. And put the recipe in. Now these get all their inputs. So all those and those. And then the output runs up like that and gets attached out. Now you all get a power pole, which can probably go there and work fine. Alright, there we are. Now what is this? That's the plastic, which is still relatively short on availability. So now we have probably 3-ish times as much nature crystals going out. Organic crystals, rather. So these are 2 to 1 in terms of plastic. So it's 2 plastic per 1 organic crystal. And this is 2 plastic per 6 seconds, which is 1 per 3 seconds per machine. This produces 1 per 3 second per machine. So, theoretically, we need to add 1 more of these guys on in order for everything to balance properly. So, we need another chemical plant, and I think we need to just bite the bullet and get around to automating those at this point. But let's just manual craft them one last time. Alright, so all the way down here and to this spot. So we get our stone, And we get our glass. And then we can make another 2 chemical plants. And then let's just start on expanding these guys forwards so that it'll be slightly easier when we eventually get around to it to properly expand production of the actual chemical plants, so we can not have to manually craft them all the time. So this just goes forwards, and it just keeps on going forwards. And it just keeps on going forwards. So how much further could this possibly need? Alright, all this stuff, filling in all the tiny little gaps, takes a while. But we just keep on moving. And we just keep on moving. So this goes forwards. And we've got to be most of the way there at this point. It's still pretty far though. And we also have all these belts to continue building. So that all goes in. And it just keeps on building. How many belts do you think this bus is going to have in it by the end? Thousands? Tens of thousands? Probably. Alright, so this is almost there. And we are close enough that we can actually check on the science again to see what's actually the demand at this point. Because we want to just like keep on expanding science production and just keep on doing that for as long as possible. Alright, so this is as far forward as it'll need to go. And all of these guys can get built up. And that is that. Okay, so if we go up here, we have blue and yellow science, but we're missing red science. So that's going to be the thing that we need to fix. Let's stand in there while we look at the red science. But what are you not producing? Apparently we're too far to operate. So you are still probably hydrogen limited. Still, after all that work that we've done improving it. Okay. So at least our max battery is charging up, and it's not that bad. Like, it could be worse. It could be worse, but we need more hydrogen. I wonder if now we're going to end up needing more crude oil as well. That could definitely be a thing. We actually have our box with 100 yellow science backed up in it, so that's good. That will hopefully last us a good long while. And is this just gonna keep on? Yep, just keep on stockpiling forever and ever until we have way more than we know what to do with, because at some point we'll need all that stuff. Alright, so let's walk over here. We've got plenty of graphite, and every single ounce of hydrogen is just instantly getting sucked up. So the hydrogen is this belt here.
Flight mode.
And if we just fly all the way back to its source, then that is this line of oil refineries. which still has plenty of crude oil. So we can just keep on doing this basically forever, right? Like, we can just... Let's just blueprint this. And just grab that. And call you oil refinery row with a blueprint of the oil refinery and thumbnail text of oil refinery row. Save blueprint. Save changes. So now we grab this. And okay, so that we have to skip a little bit because of the tropic line thing. So you go in there, and we place the foundations in, and then we get another one. Alright, so now we just have to connect these belts up across the tropic line. And they just have to go forwards like that, and they've got plenty of space to do so. And now we just need to connect the Tesla towers up and get all these guys connected across as well. Apparently this isn't a perfectly set up connection. So that all goes, and just a little bit more. Okay, so now we have these guys producing output and sending that output all the way up. And now that should be a considerable amount of output. So it's now that can all go. And this replicator stuff is apparently tremendously efficient, by the way. It's hardly crawling at all, despite all the stuff we're using it for. Okay, and also looks like we are short on graphite, and we're short on these guys, but does that matter much? Where even are your inputs? Okay, so you have both your inputs in perfectly good numbers. You just need more machines to produce you. So let's get that in. And we just need a... Do I have a blueprint for this? Is it... No, so this is going to include all the replicator stuff, which I don't want to include, although it's not that bad, right? It's just like one wasted replicator, basically. So if we just get that in, it's also a bit of wasted space as well, but it's fine. Okay, so if we just force that to all get built, we have to dismantle the spray coater to get this fixed. And let's dismantle that belt that attaches to it, of course. Now, all of those go down like that. Wait, this is not even the right one. Oh well. It's good practice at least. So now that is all in. We can copy paste you to get that upgraded. And now if we go here, actually is this... Okay, actually this blueprint works. I forgot that I had this. So now we can just spam place a bunch of these. And then you need to have this recipe. And let me guess, we were going to need to upgrade all of these so that it works properly. So we do not have the tier 2 belts in our inventory anymore, so whenever we find them, we just have to upgrade them to the tier 3 ones. And so now all this gets built. And are these guys running? Yes, they are. So that should be a good improvement on that front. And now it's the graphite's turn to get upgraded.
Flight mode.
So we fly down this way. And we have just all these guys. So we need to place a couple more soil piles in there. And hopefully that will be good enough. So we can just add in a bunch more of those. No point not going complete overkill. We've got plenty of resources to do this, so we might as well. And now we just need to get all of the sorters placed. And those go across. Like that. And now we just paste the settings all the way down. And get some power poles in. Which, just like that, ought to be enough graphite. Hopefully. Okay, and now the replicator is starting to run low.
Flight mode.
So, let's fly over here, and what exactly is the problem? These are all working, and they're just going. Seems like we just need a little bit more of everything. Like we just need a little bit more of everything over here. So let's go foundations. Fill in that little puddle so we don't have to worry about that. And we're going to expand all that stuff out. And copy paste it down. Now it is belt time. So this all gets those belts. And that gets that. And then finally we have this one, which comes down there. And power poles for everyone. Mostly just these guys down here, which don't have them already. And now it is inserter time. So those get inserters, which then takes them across to there. Then these get inputs from here, which they take across to here. And then finally we have this one, comes down that way to feed the diamonds into this. And is that working? So hopefully it is, right? We've got those going 90 a minute, these going, it says 45 a minute, but it's 2 to 1, but they have twice as many sprays, so it's technically just as good. So this should be like an exactly correct ratio. And then if these are 45 a minute total and they take they're going to take 45 diamonds a minute. So these are 30 diamonds a minute. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. So we should have 9 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think we need one more smelter for diamonds. So that goes in. And you just get connected up. And there. So I think that should get the ratio correct on that side. And now, on the graphite side, is it just one of those every 2 seconds, and then the diamonds take one of those every 2 seconds. Alright, we've unlocked interstellar logistics, which is very cool. So now let's just get this last graphite producer built up. So this just takes from there and into there. And I think that should be like exactly correct ratios for making the proliferator. And
Flight mode.
It's still flowing real fast here. And I'm not sure if we're... Yeah, so like it's pretty much this guy here, the iron smelting, which is taking most of the proliferator. And then all the stuff downstream of that is going a lot more fine. Also, it also looks like we're not getting enough iron input, which is a bit concerning, but considering the proliferator problems, I don't even know how realistically we can fix that. So that spray coater is 623, that one is 623. This one here is keeping up, barely. Okay, so it looks like it is going fine. There's just so much spray coating to do that it's never going to be easy. And the iron input isn't that bad, but it's not a full belt. And it's also not a fast belt. So let's fly. Actually, we don't have mining machines on us, do we? No, probably not. And we can't craft them because we need iron, ironically. Actually, if we just pick up some of that, we should be able to craft up one more mining machine, which is not going to have much of an easy time of getting out of here. But I guess we can just do that. And then attach it in like that somehow. And then hopefully that will be enough iron now that we don't have... that this is like a full belt instead of mostly a belt. And that should help us out a little bit. All this stuff is struggling because this base is running at full speed for the first time in a while. So now we need to stand by that, and we need to set new instructions. So automatic piler merges 2 cargos on the belt into one, which significantly enhances the belt's carrying capacity. Neat. Let's just do that. And pile sorter can integrate multiple cargos into one and feed out, even if it's slightly expensive. It's a good deal for those engineers who are dedicated to run the conveyor belt at full speed. Okay, I don't really understand what that means, but it's probably helpful to have. Interstellar power transmission, I don't think we need yet. Miniature particle collider seems like it's going to unlock some weird stuff that I'm not ready for. And then this is all combat stuff. So then if we go over to here, we can queue up Mecha Core, which gives better max core energy. And then also durability and such. Then we can get inventory capacity. And that stuff's useful. But we can get like more vertical construction and better distribution range for our drones. We can make them go faster and carry more. So yeah, lots and lots of options if we have enough power to use for it. If we have enough science, we can do a lot. So let's fly back over to the labs to see what the bottleneck is. Probably... Okay, so blue science has just about stopped, aside from whatever trickle through is needed. Red science is backlogged to like the 40s. Yellow science is backlogged to several hundred. So it is ultimately still red science, which is our main bottleneck. And then aside from that, the actual research speed could stand to be a little bit faster. How's power grid going? Seems like it's going fine. I mean, it's discharging like crazy, so maybe it'll break, but the energy accumulated is going down relatively slowly. So as long as generation capacity spikes back up again, it shouldn't be an issue. So red science is still definitely being used faster than we're producing it. So let's just run back here, and it is still the same old issue with not enough hydrogen. So first of all, we can just like manually dump some hydrogen into these guys, and that will help, I guess. It'll help in the short term. Now we've got this guy in here who is doing his best to make graphite and hydrogen. But how much... First of all, how much graphite do you even need to make? Apparently enough. But is the hydrogen output being blocked by refined oil again? Like, does this line go all the way back? It doesn't? Okay. So theoretically, at the moment, refined oil is doing its thing at full speed without problems. Oh, but now we actually have a crude oil input issue. And it's not getting anywhere near filling all of these. So let's find some crude oil, shall we? Let's see here. If we just open up the map mode, there's a crude oil seep down this way, just past the main bus. There's this one that we're using, which is slightly slower than it. Then there's another one out here past the iron veins. Alright, so let's get both of those. So go to collecting and oil extractors. We've got plenty.
Flight mode.
So let's fly over this way to find those crude oil seeps and start getting them connected up. So you go into there, and let's just get both of the ones out here constructed so that we can attach them in. So then we can bring this down that way somewhere, and then power it up. that can all get powered up. And then the belts go. And we have to just drag this belt all the way back so it can connect up to the other crude oil seep. So that's going to be going somewhere along like that. And let's get all this stuff built up, because we need to get all these belts placed. We can't just leave them like this. So we can run up this way, and in they go. Alright, so now this belt is back to here. We can attach you and just pop you in. And give you a power pole. And connect that power pole up. So now we've got all this. Then we just need to go and grab the crude oil belt and attach it into here. I'm going to need to stand here to recharge temporarily. And we're about to get that research.
Research complete.
Alright, integrated logistics system. So now we can have 2 items on one stack. Oh, there's a tutorial for it. Cargo is fed into the lower port one at a time. The autopiler then automatically integrates 2 cargoes into one and feeds the integrated cargo out from the higher port. Max integration count is 4. Okay. So, yeah, that should make sense, I think. And hopefully we won't have to do too much with that. Also, it looks like the proliferator wound up catching back up to where it needs to be. Now we need to fly all the way down here to find our crude oil input belt, which is here. It's this guy. So let's see if we can get you connected up like that, so that you can do all this stuff. So now we just need to connect this belt all the way back over to there, which is actually going to be a bit annoying because we have to drag these pieces backwards in order for it to work out well. And this, let's see, going like over, all the way over to there. Okay, but now we know at least like the general direction that we need to get to, so we can run from the beginning back here and just take it forwards. It's not that far. So you go over this way. And you sneak through all of those belts. Then you run up to here. And somewhere over this way. Then you sneak around all this stuff. And over there. And connect up to that belt. And now, once that is all built, that will be additional oil supplied to this setup, which should help with red science production. So let's just get all this stuff in. And off we go. I don't know why they're going off to build those ones first, but just a couple more and we'll be good. There we are. Alright, so that should be plenty of oil now. And now we need to stand here and recharge a bit. And I think this is the research, which is going to like double our core energy once it's done, and it says it's going to be done in like 30 seconds. So that's handy. And then once that happens, we're going to have to stand here and recharge again, probably. I wonder if we had multiple wireless power towers in an area, if we could like stack their recharge effects to fill up extra quick.
Flight
No
mode.
idea how that works, but if it works that way, it sure would be convenient.
Flight mode.
Alright, so let's just fly. Alright, so here's the
Upgrade
oil.
complete.
And yeah, now all of a sudden our mech power looks very low. Alright, so the oil is in and it's backlogged to a sufficient degree. So now the main limiting factor is the refined oil. So, yeah, the main limiting factor now is how much refined oil we use. So if we just fly down here and get this thing upgraded, which we should be able to stand here while we do that. So we need to get a couple oil. Actually, it's going to be easier to just copy paste, isn't it? Yep, it's probably going to be easier to just copy paste. So we blueprint, make a new blueprint. We don't have one of these. Actually, we might. Is that what this is? Okay. Yeah, this should mostly work. No. So we need to give you enough space. So that will mostly work. We're going to need to draw some additional belts in and set the filters. We're going to need to set the filters. So the near belt is hydrogen, that's correct. The far belt is graphite, not refined oil. So we can just go back to here and get those in. And that should be pretty good. Now we just have to connect that up. Get the new recipe in, like so. And then we have to hop over to this side and add in the second extra belt. So that can go all the way down to there. And it gets inputs like that. And finally we get that. And that should just convert a whole bunch of refined oil into a whole bunch of hydrogen and graphite, which should be more useful to us. So now we can just stand here in the charging port while that works. And so at first this is going to not be producing much hydrogen at all, because this needs to loop back on itself constantly to refill its own hydrogen supplies. But eventually that'll change and then we'll be good to go. So as we can see here, this is backlogging, and eventually we should start to see, yeah, so now we start to see hydrogen going out,
Upgrade.
and that should be that. Inventory capacity done. So that is just an additional row there, which is very nice. And now what do we want to research? We can get distribution range upgraded, plus 20 degrees. I don't know how many. And there's a lot of degrees. I don't know how many 20 is as far as like how far away that can take us. So it looks like red science is still the major limiting factor, to the surprise of no one. And this guy is still producing away. Now you are actually working on all cylinders. So all of those red sciences guys are going. So that's cool. Okay, so we need more refined oil up here, and I have an enormous amount of the stuff in my inventory for some reason. So I'm just going to be dumping that out into all these machines just so that it isn't wasted. So that will that refined oil will now get used eventually and take up much less inventory space. And it actually looks like the hydrogen supply might be backlogging. So now we have this entire stack of red science production is just working. And we haven't upgraded the vertical height yet. I mean, we could just like add even more, right? So we've got the yellow science is now clearly the limiting factor at this point, I think, though. Like, we can see how much red science is going out and how much yellow science is going out. It's clearly more red than yellow. So that's fine. That will catch up eventually. And we do have still pretty solid reserves of yellow science. So we should get this particular research done before that completely craters off and we stop doing anything. So in the meantime, the yellow science is still low on titanium crystals. And the titanium crystals are still... Okay, actually we have plenty... We have plenty of everything. We just need more production lines, it looks like. So let's go put another one of you in. And you get that and that. Input, input, and output. So that should add a little bit more titanium crystal production. You're just chopping away at that now. And I guess let's just add a whole bunch of them in. Might as well. So we can just add in another 2. And now we need to connect these belts across. And get the recipe pasted. So that should be more titanium crystal production from 2 up to 5, as long as we have the resources for it. And that is all going now. I'm surprised that the red science is still not like starting to backlog itself. So we still have some yellow science in here, but it's definitely the limiting factor now. So for now, it's running reasonably well. How many titanium crystals do we have? Also, how much is this? This is 7.5 per minute
Flight mode.
per building, whereas these guys are 12 per minute and 24 per minute respectively. So even like in theory, one building of this would be producing dramatically less than the other types of science. So that's something which we're probably going to need to fix in some way. Par163, hello. We are working on science stuff and trying to get this to all run quickly is quite challenging. Also, it looks like we might have run out of titanium again. Because that is decreasing. Okay. What's not worth it early game? Because I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about there. We're just trying to get all this stuff going. Yeah, I know. I'm not trying to get good science numbers. I'm just trying to get, like, you know, reasonable output, which we're probably kind of at. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just like I prefer to not have to wait for an extremely long amount of time for anything. The game changes once you get to the ILS. Yeah, I think technically, is that the abbreviation for this one, which I've just recently researched that and I haven't built it yet. But I did pretty much figure out that this would be a big deal. Yeah. All right. So let's start working on that then. All right. So first we need to do planetary logistics, I guess, which I think we were like partway through building the things for. So we need titanium and reinforced titanium. We need processors and the plasma, what are these things called? Particle containers. So this is just in an assembler, right? Alright, so we can run down all the way to here. And then... oh, this never got attached up to the replicator stuff. Let's just do that. It'll be marginally helpful. So now we can go to this and try to get that lined up. Is that lined up there? I think it is. Okay, so that can go in, and that looks lined up to me. So we just connect that across. And then you guys get to make... where are these things? Planetary logistics systems. Huzzah. So those are pasted in. And then we just need to get steel, titanium processors, and particle containers. I'm pretty sure I remember to make processors. Pretty sure these are back here. Yeah, here they are. Processors and particle containers right next to each other. So we just need to expand these belts forwards and just bring them along all the way out this way. And this is going to take a while for our poor drones to build, but they'll get there eventually. So that goes out like that. Okay. So now we just have to let all this stuff get built for a bit. And then we just need to connect that in. Do you want any backseating? I prefer minimal backseating. I like coming up with things myself, but if you have like tips and stuff, then that's not terrible, but just like straight up telling me how to do things is less fun for me. Alright, so then these get foundations and splitters. that all goes in. And then they connect up to that. Now we just bring all this stuff out and connect them up. So we don't need like an enormous amount of these, but it'll be nice to not have to manually craft them ever. The battlefield base has 20 drones that will work in an area. How do you get 20? I was when I hadn't quite wiped out Dark Fog off of this planet yet, I was working with that, and I couldn't get more than like 6, and they basically never did anything. So if you could explain how that works, that could be helpful. I know I'm doing something wrong with it, but I don't know what. Alright, so where was this? I believe this was the titanium belt. That's just currently empty because titanium. Okay, so that goes out. Yes. And that goes in, and then around. Okay, so that would be titanium if I had any. So now we just need to grab the steel and put that in. Steel, steel, steel. Where is the steel belt? It's like somewhere weirdly out here, right? Because it took me a long time to actually bother making it. Steel belt, where are you? See, this is the problem of the main bus. You have everything here, you just have such a hard time physically finding it. Okay, no, here it is. I went past it. And the belt goes all the way out to the very edge. Alright, so this belt then just comes out, just like the other ones. Did I click that wrong? No, I didn't. Good. Okay. So then we just continue on. You go out to there-ish. And we get all this stuff built. So there we go. Come down this way and get all these stuff constructed. Okay, I think we're probably missing some. There's no steel on the belt, so yeah, we missed the first couple. So those all go in, and now we have steel available. So we come all the way over here and just get this set up. Dang foundation. I wish I know how to place the foundation as efficiently as it does when you put it in a blueprint and it uses like one tile of foundation. But manually placing it, I haven't figured out how to scroll it down to do that yet. Alright, so this comes down and then loops into that input. So that goes to there. And the steel now goes in, and the only thing missing is the titanium. Okay, let's just set up all the stuff we need for this as well. So the reinforced titanium, or whatever it's called, titanium alloy, is titanium, steel, and sulfuric acid. Wait, I should have checked. What machine is that in? It's in a smelting facility. Of course it is. Alright. So we just need to... It has like 3 inputs for once, which is not like normal smelting facilities. So we just go 1 input, 2 inputs. Stop hitting the button. And then we put in the smelting facility, and then 3 inputs and the output, which gets a spray coater. And you gotta get the spray coater to line up like that. Okay, so that's good. And then we just have to get the power poles in there. You get set to be titanium alloy. And we just probably going to want a couple of these. So let's just start with 2 and then upgrade when we need them. So these get inputs to there and inputs from here, and then they get outputs out to there, and that should be that for you. Now we just need to get titanium ingots, steel, sulfuric acid. So the titanium ingots and steel are like right here. So we can just do those 2 and grab their outputs. So this just needs to wrap around into there. Oh, I sent it too far. So you wrap around like that. Then the steel goes across into that, and then comes down and into there. Alright, and now the sulfuric acid. Is that what this is? Sulfuric acid? Yes. Alright, so now we just have to find that. It's like going to be way back here somewhere. Sulfuric acid, where are you? Probably here. Alright, so this is the belt. And it goes out this way, and through all here, and then up to this spot. So now we just have to bring this out, and that'll work. So all of those belts get set up, and we just keep on moving forwards. So this just keeps on going until we get up to where we need to be. And then that will be titanium alloys set up once we go and grab some more titanium, which hopefully once we have the interstellar logistics thing, it'll be the last time we need to manually go and grab titanium. So it's kind of funny that, like, you can tell where groups of things don't get used much because this entire area is empty. So theoretically, like, each one of these grid tiles has some item associated to it, and I just haven't had to drag them forwards yet. But, like, none of the ones in this entire area have. Alright, so that's up here. And now we just scroll around and pop you in. Get this all set up. And now this just has to creep around and then go into there. Alright, so now it is time to start getting ready to go grab more titanium alloys. So how much fuel do I have? I have 100 on me right now. I'm going to need to grab more. And man, these wireless power towers do not charge you super fast now that we have more energy storage. So let's do this test, because it's possible that we'll be able to stand in multiple of them at a time
Flight mode.
and then get extra powered up. I don't know if that'll actually be the case, but if it would save a huge amount of time. So Yeah, you can stand in like 7 at a time. Fantastic. I might need to automatically make these at some point, but I don't use very many of them. So let's just grab a bunch of those. And then... what was I... oh, right. I wanted to find the combustible units. Do I have these stored anywhere? Or are they just on the belt? No, I think the only place I have them stored is all the way up in the old factory. Alright, so let's grab a bunch of those. And then we can just stand in a bunch of these. Pop another one of you down. And my inventory has a lot of junk in it, so we're going to have to empty that stuff out in a bit. So let's just put a random box down. And that box can store all of this random junk. And I basically don't need anything in my inventory for this. What have I done? I do need the fuel though, otherwise I could get stuck. And I need the boxes because I need to place down a couple of them. Okay, so we just fill this up with all this and give me that back. Okay. Now it is time to open the old star map. And is that hive going to be in the way? It'll probably be fine if we just sort of go wide. Okay, off we go.
Cruise mode.
And we just sort of want to try to not accidentally get too close to the hive, which hopefully means just going down this way. Oh, and I need to actually throw some of the fuel in the chamber. There we go. And now we just cruise. You're at the stage where you need to rebuild your first planet. Yeah, rebuilding is always rough. Done that in other games like Factorio and stuff where you have to just tear everything down and start from scratch, and can be quite annoying. Alright, so we are heading on over to this place. And also, I think my science might have stopped working somehow. Those numbers haven't changed in a while. Okay, now we have to try to get lucky and land close to my very tiny outpost on this island.
Cruise
Okay,
ended.
so now we're here. And dark fog is everywhere, but my mine is down this way. So I need to head like southeast-ish, which is like this way. And off we go. Just fly over to here. And we've got plenty of titanium. Also, somehow other stuff got in here. I must have just dumped that off when I was building this place. Alright, inventory full. And I crafted all those power tower things and I left them all back at the previous place. I should have brought one or two just so I could recharge a little bit here. Not that there's much power to recharge with, but it would have been nice. Dark fog is very, very slowly creeping up to doing something about us on this planet, but hopefully won't be an issue for a little while longer. So now we just go back to the star map and we set the indicator to there so I don't get lost. You can stack unlimited items in your hand and move them across the stars. That is very good to know. It does seem a little bit like an exploit. By a little bit like an exploit, I mean it's very clearly an exploit. So I think we're going to do things the intended way. But it is good to know. Alright, so let's just get... Wait, no, I clicked the wrong way there. And, okay, we're relatively good on power, so we should be able to head back now. And off we go. By the way, where's that hive? It's like constantly... Okay, yeah, no, it's literally right there. Well, please ignore us. I have no idea how close you can get, but like on my first ever trip, I got randomly blown up for getting too close to them, and I have no idea how close you can get, but they're just constantly in the way. Alright. You still don't know? Yeah. The answer is that there is some distance where if you get close enough, they'll just shoot you with a billion lasers and destroy you, but I have no idea how close. Okay, so we're getting further away now, and they haven't blasted us yet, so we are safe. You're working to make 10 million white science a minute? That's a lot. That's an insane amount. I guess that's late game for you, huh? Okay, so let's just try to land, and here we are. Okay, we've successfully landed, and reasonably close to where we want to be. Where did I put all those? Where did I put all those power poles for fast charging? You haven't even made green or purple yet? Isn't white science like a super late one? Alright, so now we can stand here and recharge while... Oh, no, I can't stand here and recharge while I pick all of my items up, because my inventory is still full with all this titanium. Alright. So, we just fly down here. And we can dump off all this titanium that we've got, which is going to be into these boxes here. Off you go, and off you go, and oh, I upgraded my inventory size since last time I did this, so I need an additional stack. Alright, but that should be enough titanium for now, and that should get all this stuff working. So now we can fly back, pick up our stuff, and get back to whatever we were doing. So that is back here. And got most of this stuff is useful to some extent. And then most of this stuff is useless, but not all of it. So we can just grab like all the Okay, I clicked to grab everything when I kind of wanted to leave some of that just in there. But that's fine, though. Close enough. So now we have that. And the drones are delivering stuff again as well. Who knows what they're delivering, but it's probably useful. And it all looks good. Alright, so yeah, now we can...
Flight mode.
Fully charged up and back to normal, so we can fly down here to see what's going on. Alright, so titanium alloy is being produced. So we got that. So now we just need to do one more row of assemblers to make the interstellar logistics system. So we go to this, and we just pop that in. Oh, wait, no. You have to click the auto place foundation. And for some reason that didn't connect up right. Oh, because that wasn't actually the blueprint that I designed properly. Oh. Oh boy, the power grid is having fun now. Okay, so the power grid is broken. Time to go and place more solar panels, I guess. Yikes, that's actually severely broken. Well, it'll hopefully fix itself eventually when day comes, but... Solar panels. How many solar panels do I have in my inventory? Okay, we have 12. That's not going to be enough. Okay, what is that? Oh, I just didn't have enough of that specific type of loader in my inventory at the time. Okay. I don't know how the power grid is this bad all of a sudden when it was completely fine for absolutely ages. But the sun should be rising again. And that should be getting things fixed. Yeah, generation capacity is going up. Okay, so now we are back here. We can pick up 50 of those, and I should let those stack higher. Pick up 50 of those, and however many of these, just probably another 50. Yep, power grid is in trouble. We are gonna be placing more solar panels. And hopefully at some point this will be less and less of an issue. Okay, how is it still... Okay, so yeah, just the majority of the factory hasn't gotten to daytime yet, so we just need to keep going around here. And the more we expand this, the more stable it'll be. So we just grab this blueprint and place this as many times as it'll let us. And that should go in. And these will eventually, once the sun rises over here, should help us have more generation capacity and more storage. And it'll also mean that the effect of the day-night cycle will be obviously less and less of a problem, because it'll be more stable round-the-clock production the more of this we do. But we need more solar panels, because our old factory was only set to stock 50 of them at a time, and it's also not very fast, so it'll be a while before we finish with that.
Light mode.
So we've got an additional 50 solar panels, and we might need to start worrying about like actually making a Dyson sphere or something at some point. But I'm not going to do that until we've at very least circumnavigated this planet with solar panels. Okay, so we are up to this. We are accumulating energy, but not much. Consumption demand is very, very high at the moment. And I kind of don't know why it's so much higher now than it has been. Like, obviously we're doing science production, which means more machines are running around the clock, so that's probably part of it, but I didn't expect it to cause that much of a difference. So let's go back here and see how many solar panels did we produce in that past couple seconds. Another 28 is a reasonably good step towards finishing that. Is there anything we can do to increase this? Not easily. We could make solar panels on the proper main bus. But let's just expand that out so that they can stockpile them up more. And then we can run out to get all those guys placed. And that should be like 90% of them. Actually, it's really close, isn't it? We have 31 and that needs 34. Let's just wait for the extra 3 so that we can say that that's finished. And not have the little warnings thing pop up. Like those 3. Alright, so now we have 34 solar panels.
Flight mode.
And we need to place 34 solar panels, so that should be good. Actually, are we... At some point, we're going to get to the point where this is closer to access from this way. Still probably not at that point. Actually, at this point, it's probably about the same either way. So now we can fly all the way over here. And almost there. That's where we ran out of soil after filling in the dark fog core drill. Now we're all the way down here. And we can get all these guys built up. And that should help. That should help with the power grid. Okay, so now... I mean, we're not even accumulating that much extra energy. Like, it's genuinely close at this point, which is a problem. Yeah, it's already actually going down. Okay. The power grid is just going to be terrible for a bit, I guess. Which probably means we do want to actually get to work on filling up the... on like putting solar panels on the main bus and producing a bunch of them so that we can get that set up. I wish there was a thing like in Factorio where it would tell you like what machines are taking the most power. That would be very helpful. Yeah, I mean, consumption demand is still hovering around 100 megawatts, which means we need to have that production continually and not drop off like this. Okay, so we can finish this first because we are in the middle of doing that and it's basically done. So interstellar logistics goes to both of those. And you just need particle containers and titanium alloys and the planetary logistics. So, titanium alloys need to go all the way out onto the main bus, which is, let's see, it looks like their designated spot is like all the way back here somewhere. So let's just get this in. And that's where they're going to go back to. Pretty sure that's right. Pretty sure that's the correct spot for them. If not, that'll be a problem, but it should be fine. So you just loop around and go into that. Alright, titanium alloy has been officially connected to the bus. Next, we need to just immediately, and this is the incredibly silly looking part of this design, just immediately take it off the bus. So you just go back. And oh, the power grid is having a good time again. That's not surprising. And we're down to like 50%. Yeah, this is not ideal. We really need to get more of those solar panels around so that we don't have to deal with all this inconsistent production stuff. Oh, we also need to upgrade these because in the blueprint these were tier 2 sorters, but now I have tier 3 sorters, so we need to get those in, and I can't even select them.
Flight mode.
Alright, time to go looking for tier 2 sorters that I might randomly have lying around somewhere, I guess. They might be in some of these boxes. Nope, they're not. Alright, tier 2 sorters. If I were a tier 2 sorter, where would I be? I would be right back here. Alright, so we can just grab a bunch of those. And then we need to stop to charge for a little bit. I can't wait until I have large enough batteries that just basic flying around doesn't mean constantly needing to charge. Okay, the good news is that our generation didn't drop off nearly as much as it did last time. Like, we only got down to like 50% for a little bit, and now we're back up to 80-some%. So it could be worse. It could be so much worse. It's unfortunately, me standing here charging is not helping the issue. Alright, probably charged enough. So now we can fly down here and get those sorters placed so that the warnings can go away. There we go. Warnings dealt with. Now we need particle containers, and we need to get these guys just out and around as well. They're not gonna go on the bus because they're only gonna be needed for like this one thing. So first off, we take these out, and you need to like go around there and then around there and then out past where the bus currently is. And I guess you can get an honorary slot on the bus. It's not going to be like permanently assigned to you like the other ones are, but if you do need to split to go into there. I don't think you'll be needed for any other recipes, and if you are, then I'll just figure something out then. But you go into a splitter, which can then have a storage depot, but please don't store more than like a stack. And then we take this out, and it goes around like this, all the way down and in to there. So that should theoretically work, as long as these are producing, which we are out of titanium again somehow. Okay, we've somehow run out of titanium in like the 10 seconds that it's been here, which is quite annoying, but I guess we'll have to go and grab even more. So now we get that brought all the way up, and then this, oh wait, no, that's the wrong height, because you are going into a set of machines, which means you need to be on ground level. And you just sneak into there. And that should be everything. That should be everything. And we should be getting some of these guys now. Okay, so those are being produced. We won't have to worry about that for a little bit. Let's take away some of those missile turrets, which are currently completely unnecessary. And instead, let's set up a bus lane for making solar panels, because we're clearly going to need enough that the old factory setup that we had is not going to cut it. So let's get all this stuff in and set the recipes. So that goes like so. Alright. Now we've got all that going. Solar panels are copper ingots, high purity silicon, and circuit boards, which we're going to need to track all those things down. I think the circuit boards should be relatively close, but I think the others are going to be a bit far back. if we just sort of walk down this way, here are the circuit boards. So we can just bring these forwards, and they just need to go all the way up this way, and somewhere like this. Yeah, somewhere like that should be a good distance to carry them. So now we can do that and just calmly sit here while these guys build. And apparently we got another couple soil piles out of it somehow. Who knows how that happened. So that is all built up. And we just need this last chunk of belt in here. And then we need the copper. So this goes forwards. It goes forwards like this, all the way up to where we're making our solar panels. And the power grid is having a rough time again, as one does. Alright, so now we just need the high purity silicon to come forwards. And we obviously need all these guys to get constructed. But let's just focus on getting the silicon stuff done, and then whatever stuff gets constructed in the meantime can get constructed, and that'll just be helpful. Okay. High purity silicon, where are you? Is it not? That's glass. It might be one of these empty ones for all I know. It's probably this empty spot, if I had to guess, because that's where all the refining stuff happened mostly. Unless it's like all the way down here for some reason. Okay, it wasn't that empty spot. Where is it then? It's gotta be one of these. So we just have to, at this point, get back to something that uses it. You just have to get all the way back to where it's produced, I guess. And it's this row, which is currently dead. Okay. So that is unsurprising, but quite annoying. So we need to go down here. It's just the one immediately outside of the green circuits. So that's going to be easy to keep track of. And it does go all the way down to here before stopping. And so we can just get you out and drag this forwards as far as it needs to go. And we're going to need to go out and grab some more silicon in order to get this to actually work. Okay, looks like the power grid is temporarily fixed, so that's nice. Alright, now we can stand here and get all these guys built. And just run down the line until it's all done. So off we go. We can get the copper belt done as well. Just the last couple chips of that. And we need to go stand in a recharging port. And let's just make this like 4 of them so that we can recharge extra fast. Current generation capacity seems to be peaked at like 133-ish somewhere. And consumption demand is now up to 120 megawatts. Power is insane, although part of this is probably just me charging. So yeah, the energy accumulated is not that much, which means that this is definitely going to continue being a power generation problem. But at least we're up to 150 now, which is actually like a reasonable number. So now we can run down here and get the rest of this construction done. And then we're going to need to go out and
Flight
find us our silicon source, which is off on some other planet somewhere. So, how much... Alright, so I need to clear out the inventory again, as always, before making these trips. So, the extra titanium can go in there. How much is here? A reasonable amount, but it's already like more than half depleted, which is kind of insane. So we have one stack of fuel. We have one stack of fuel, so let's just head back up. Because that's something which we've been producing in the old factory, so we can head back up here to grab a nice solid stockpile of that. So now we have 3 stacks of fuel, and we can hopefully throw our inventory into here, and a lot of this stuff can go in and just stack up with stuff that's already in there. But not all of it. A lot of it is just sort of random junk. So that we have another stockpile for here. So you can get sorted, and then all this random junk can go into that one. And then we have another box up here, which just continues taking just all the rest of this random junk. And then we can take our fuel back, and that should be fine. We can set more power stuff, right? So we can get fusion power plants at some point. I kind of like the solar power though, at least for now. So a lot of this stuff is obviously just like setups for other things. Fusion is great. You have access to actually unlimited deuterium. Oh, okay. I guess that's true. All right, let's start researching that then while we go on this trip. So we need to go out to get silicon this time, which is either going to be easier. Okay, it's going to be easier because we don't have to go anywhere near the other thing. So we are now
Flight mode.
off on a trip to get some silicon, and we can just accelerate using a whole bunch of power. And then we need to... I should always just do this beforehand. Okay, so we are going at full speed now. We just need to not miss the planet. That would be real awkward if we missed the planet. And we also need to hopefully not land directly on top of dark fog, which we should be fine, because they're all the way down there, and we are not all the way down there. Okay. So here we are, and now we just need to land.
Cruise ended.
And we are on the planet. Now where did we put that mining base of ours? It's somewhere over here. Okay. So where's that relative to where we are? It's like right on the dark side. It's just on the opposite side of the planet, basically. Alright, let's get walking. And I guess we can fly a little bit. I think we actually have a power charger thing here. Yeah, we do. So that will be helpful. So we just walk over here and we can stand under that while we pick up a couple stacks of silicon. Oh, and the power grid here is very weak, but that's fine. Alright, fuel acquired. So now we can just go back to the star map, and back to there. Alright, off we go.
Flight mode. Cruise mode.
Okay. So we can just fly over this way, and then we will be able to make all these solar panels. Alright, so we can accelerate and get there in not much time, although we don't have quite enough power to accelerate all the way. So off we go, and we're at like 90% max speed. We'll be there in 30 seconds if we don't miss, which is weirdly difficult to hit sometimes. Just did some manual crafting and yikes. Yeah, it can be quite time consuming. It can definitely be quite time consuming. That's like an hour, right? Or somewhere close to it.
Cruise ended.
All right. Yikes! That's awful. I definitely would not want to spend an hour waiting on manual crafting. All right, so we need to fly up here to where we had dropped off our stuff. And it's going to be in some of these boxes. Let's see, we can get those. My inventory disappeared. And some of those. And some boxes. And we already grabbed some splitters. Various refinery types things. And my inventory is mostly loaded with silicon still, which I always forget that I have to actually drop off. So we just fly down to here, and in you go, and in you go. Okay, so that is silicon back up and running, which should hopefully... Did we actually fully set up the solar panel production, or did we just get partially through that? I can't remember. So let's fly down here. I'm pretty sure I set up, like, yeah, 4 charging guys here, so we can stand in this and get some serious power charging. Alright, so power is basically up to where we need it to be. Okay, yeah, so we just need to connect all these guys in. So we get a splitter there, and a splitter there, and a splitter there. And we do have drones supplying belts, so we don't need to worry about that. Now we just need to get all these splitters actually into there. And then we need to get you around and into there. And you around and into there. And then we just connect the splitters up to that. And that'll be solar panels produced from 2 machines this time, at least, and we can get more in as we need to. And then we just need to bring this belt all the way across everything out to where it's not going to be in the way to have a box set up for them. So that all goes in like so. And then we can have just like 4 stacks maybe at once. Will hopefully be good for now. And we don't have enough refined silicon to actually make this go at full speed, unfortunately, and the power grid being bad is preventing me from making the power grid better. So that's annoying. I guess we just have to hope that the solar panels we have are up to the task. So we can fly back over here, pick up the solar panels that have been produced from the old factory, and then hopefully that will be a decent chunk, although I don't know how many it's going to be. It will be greater than 50. Okay, yeah, it is more than 50. So we have 80 solar panels now, and we're going to grab another stack of accumulators as well. So those are always needed. And now we're just going to keep on expanding this row of solar panels. And off we go. At some point, this is going to make it all the way around, and that's going to be very cool. But we're not there yet. So fusion power is like just seconds away from being done. It's hard to tell how long, depending on the amount of power demand that we need, but somewhere around like 20 seconds probably. And in the meantime, we can just continue on placing these guys down. Mini fusion power plant now is a thing that exists, and we just keep on going. I guess there's an oil pump or something in there that is taking up space. Okay, and now we've placed down more solar panels than we have. So we can just get all these guys in. And even more solar power. At some point, this is gonna start working. We've got to be like most of the way. Yeah, I can actually see on the mini-map at least. I can see our factory on the horizon. So we're probably like 80% of the way around the planet if I had to guess. Somewhere around that number anyways. So now it's definitely going to be faster to fly around this way than the other way. And hopefully we're just waiting for the moment where the sun will be shining somewhere, like the vast majority of the time, and we won't have to worry about like our power generation dropping off like it is. And it'll just be nice and stable. And then we'll have to eventually put like a second ring or something. But that'll be a job for the future. So now we are accumulating energy again. We're not going to have, like, placing all these extra solar panels isn't going to create the max generation to go much higher because, like, some proportion of them are always going to be in the dark, but it will cause the minimum generation to be a lot higher, which is also very useful. Okay, so we've got that. We're all powered up, and there's not enough solar panels there to be worth doing anything, but hopefully there will be a good number of new solar panels up in our main bus setup, which, gosh, the base is just so huge now that it takes forever to get anywhere. So we have to fly all the way over here. All the way over here, and then we can see how this is working. It looks like it's producing one every so often. Yeah, we're up to 23. So we can grab those and finish off this row, which is not that many. So I think we're just going to leave that for now. Just let it be where it is for a minute while we do other stuff. So this is actually charging by a significant chunk now. So that might get us there. Like we have 4 gigajoules of power stored now. So in the meantime, we need to deal with all this. We need to make logistics drones and interstellar logistics vessels, which require a couple things we already have, and then thrusters and reinforced thrusters, which pretty sure those weren't in those, right? Yeah. So we need steel plates, copper, titanium alloy, and electromagnetic turbines. So let's get thrusters set up. So you just go in there. Somehow barely fits around the wireless power tower. So that all goes in. And I am not carrying some of those items. So I need the inserters and the power poles.
Flight mode.
And let's see. We need to go all the way up there to pick up our power poles again. Gosh, it would be nice if I had this planetary logistics stuff set up already to fill me with stuff. Alright, so the old factory looks like it's just not doing anything anymore, which is not exactly surprising. So I should have left most of my power poles and stuff in here. Grab some of those. Grab some of those, I guess. And then we can go here and grab all of this stuff. And let's just grab, like, everything useful that's in this box, just so that we don't have to constantly be thinking about it. And I don't know why there are so many splitters, but there certainly are a lot of them. And I saw when I was picking up those power poles that I only actually picked up 10 from that, so let's go and grab another stack from over here. So now we're back up to having plenty of those.
Flight mode.
And now we should be able to just fly down here and get all that stuff built. So down we go. And we're currently just stockpiling science and not doing anything with it, which we should probably just... I need to just keep queuing things up. Like a miniature particle collider, maybe. I don't know, that seems useful. Seems like the sort of thing which we'll need at some point.
Flight mode.
Alright, so now we can get down here, and all this stuff will be built up. And, oh, we need to upgrade the sorters now, which, if I look at you at a very specific angle, if I can barely manage to click that. Okay, it's just like very, very difficult to find the spot, I guess. Okay, that angle actually works. And okay, so that is all built now. What even was this? This was for thrusters, I think. So that's going to be under items, thruster, boom, boom. And you need steel and copper. So this will be the copper, and that just goes across. And then we need you to come around like that. Alright. What is taking so long? Oh, are we? Now, yeah, I guess we're now in range of that battlefield analysis base thing that we set up to fight the dark fog just in this general vicinity. So that is copper set up. Now we just need to bring steel in. Steel should be right here. And that, just have to make sure it lines up properly. That goes into there and across. So now we just have this go out and over and in. And that'll be thrusters produced. There we go. So those are now doing that. And are these used for anything other than logistics drones? Probably not. My guess is not. Maybe I can look. Like, the only other place it could possibly be used would be like some of these guys maybe, or maybe corvettes. Okay, corvettes use the fancy thrusters. So that means that it is possible that they get used elsewhere, even if I'm not seeing them currently. So we are just going to be bringing these all the way out here. And I guess they're going to be given a spot on the main belt. So this is the current one. I fully expect this spot will almost never be used, but it's not that expensive to add one random row. That's not very useful. So you go out onto the main belt, and then you are going to go another one of these. And then those construction drones are doing stuff somehow. I don't even know where they got belts from. And yeah, we need to just find our supply of Mark II loaders again. So I had that just a second ago. I had that same problem. They're going to be down here somewhere. So we can just grab those. Wait, was it Mark II? Oh no, it was these ones which we needed. Okay, so we can grab up a bunch of those. And now when we head back, it should be fine. Let's just drop by here to charge real quick. Just because we were getting a little bit low. Sidetracked. I mean, this entire game is just sort of getting sidetracked over and over and over until eventually all of your sidetracks wind up coming together to finish things. So yeah, so those were engines. These are logistics drones now. So we can get those constructed up. And then we need thrusters, processors, iron ingots. Alright, where on earth are the iron ingots? And also where are the processors? Iron ingots are, like, it's been weirdly long since I've used iron ingots, actually. They should be, like, up here somewhere. Processors should be over in this general area somewhere. Yeah, here's processors, actually, and they are currently experiencing a shortage. So that's not good.
Flight mode.
Yeah, at some point we're going to need to, like, just run through and just try to get everything up and running to a reasonable extent. For now, we're just going to ignore the shortage and just pretend that it doesn't exist. So that belt goes out to there. And then we will need to find the iron ingots. Alright, iron ingots, where are you? Should be here. Yes, and you're apparently all getting devoured by steel production. So that's gonna be an issue.
Flight mode.
So this goes all the way down to here, and
Flight
is
mode.
going to take a long time to build, but there we have it. Okay, so now you get a splitter, and you get a splitter, and you can just use that one splitter because it's reasonably well placed for what I want it to be doing. So now this has to just squeeze around into there. And oh, don't do that. That's weird and gross looking. You just go straight forwards into the top input. Alright, so that will be that. Then we go back down to here. And this gets set up and then runs down this way and then twists around into there. And then we've got this one which comes down this way and can just go into that. And I think we still need to... Okay, no, that was connected up properly because it just is. So now we let the drones finish their job.
Flight mode.
And then we let the drones finish their jobs up here as well. And all of this stuff has to get built. And then we should be able to get planetary logistics set up. And then we can do the same thing again to get interplanetary logistics. And that will be good progress. So all these belts go along. And now we've got iron. So that is planetary logistics setup. And
Flight mode.
we need to recharge again, because we always need to recharge. So we can just stand in here and charge up. And fortunately with 4 of these it's actually quite fast. We should be able to... Yeah, we can actually squeeze some more in diagonally like this. And I think I'm in range of all these simultaneously.
Flight mode.
So now we can fly up to here. And yeah, so those are producing. And the power grid, by the way, is still more or less fine. Looks like we may have had minor issues, but nothing to worry about. So next up, we get another lane in there. And we have the interstellar logistics things in. We have the... So we just need to make reinforced thrusters and then interstellar logistics vessels. So we make these, and you need titanium alloy and EM turbines. Oh, and we also need to give these guys a box to output to. So that comes out this way, and just sort of same setup as these guys. You just get a splitter with a storage chest on top, and then boom. And then you can be limited down to like a stack or something. Okay, and we also want the same for these towers, which I should have thought of already. Getting these out is going to be marginally more complicated since there's all this other stuff built up in the way. But still not really an issue. So you come out to there. And you go out onto a box. thingamabob on top of it. And then that goes in. And this... Okay. We ended up making probably more of those than are possibly ever needed.
Flight mode.
But that's fine. So now we can get these guys. Okay, wait. Is this... Okay, I know. So these guys are already set up with their box.
Flight mode.
So now the only thing that doesn't have its dedicated box are these thrusters, which also just need to be built in general. So titanium alloy EM turbines. Titanium alloy EM turbines. Titanium alloy is here. And seems to be... How am I not keeping track of this belt as it goes? So it goes down there and all the way out. It's this one, okay? So we extend this belt forwards, and it looks like we're going to need more titanium as well.
Flight mode.
But we extend that belt out forwards. We have to find our EM turbines somewhere. Somewhere back here. Here you are. So we grab these, and we just bring them forwards. So this belt just goes all the way out. And need to place these every so often. And then they're out to here. Alright, so that all works out. And now all the belts go forwards. What's a shame? Have I made some horrible mistake that makes this all a terrible plan in the long term? I'm assuming I have. I'm probably gonna have to rebuild this, but this has worked quite well up to this point. Alright, so this all goes out, all gets built, and EM turbines now go forwards. Once you have that, you should consider a second planet main base. Yeah, so just like
Flight mode.
going out to another planet and just leaving this as sort of as it is. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a whole lot of stuff. Okay, so this, we just need to continue getting all this set up. Yeah, so this is like very much planned from, you know, like doing similar stuff in Factorio, where I do, like, it's, if you plan these things out, you can actually make it quite well organized, but it has to be like completely planned out. And even this, like, is a bit spaghetti-ish on the ground floor. Obviously the main lines are very neat and organized, but getting in and out of them is a little bit chaotic. Alright, so then the other one was this one up here, which just goes forwards and then wraps around and in. Alright, so that is all good. And so now we just need titanium alloys to exist, which I assume we're just shorted on titanium again, because we seem to go through that stuff like absolutely crazy. Yep, short on titanium again. Alright. That'll have to happen at some point. So then the interstellar logistics vessels, we can just set that up so that once we get our titanium input, it all works. So that goes in there. And all this stuff gets built. And we can set you up like that. Alright, so we need titanium alloy again, processors, and reinforced thrusters. So the reinforced thrusters, they go out. By the way, is my belt supply not working? Or is it just very slow? Because I'm a lot lower on belts than I normally am. I think it's just very slow.
Flight mode.
Probably because I've just slowly crept further and further away from the supply. So if I fly all the way over here, and this is the belt box, and yeah, we have plenty of them. Oh, I see. It's because it's doing that dumb thing again where it puts some of them off in a corner somewhere where you can't access them. Alright, so we can do that. And now we have enough belts that I'm not worried about running low anymore. We can fly back up to the end of the belt and continue what we were doing. So this thruster stuff goes forwards, and it can just skip over those, going up to the half step thing where it won't actually get in the way of the main line. And then we put all this stuff, give it a box, and that feeds up and goes to there. And then this can come out and around. And I think I'm not going to give it a designated spot on the bus, just because it's probably only going to be needed this one time, so it shouldn't be necessary. If it is needed again, then that's what logistics systems are for. Alright, so thrusters are in. Wait, did I just get confused? Those are thrusters. They don't need a box. Yeah, you don't need one of those. And let's see, yeah, actually, for some reason I thought that this was an item that I was actually going to be using the outputs of. So we actually want this to be slightly different then. We might as well give you a spot on the bus. I've been back and forth on this constantly, like whether I want this, despite the fact that I know it's probably only going to be used once or twice. But we will give you one. And then this output goes out to there and feeds into here. So then we need processors and alloys. And did I just see a processor go along on this belt? I think I did. So this goes forwards a little bit. And it gets a splitter. And the splitter all attaches up. Expanding way past your power. Yeah, the awful thing about power problems is that the low power makes it difficult to produce the machines which produce power. So it can get very difficult to catch back up once you have that sort of problem. So where are the titanium alloys? Are they... They're out here. And this is way harder to do when the belts are starved because you can't see where it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's this. That's this one, so you just need a splitter there, which just goes forwards like that. And out and around. And into there. Okay, so you don't have the thrusters because you don't have titanium. You don't have the titanium alloys because you don't have titanium. So we're going to have to go and grab those. But first we will just bring you out to over this way where you can fill up a box and that will be that. So you go into the splitter. The box can give us like 1 stack probably. Okay, so we still have 2 stacks of fuel from last time. Let's just go back, empty out our inventory, and get ready to launch. And we are going to stand here and set up our inventory dump boxes in here this time. And see if we do it like that. Take the fuel back, and then we need apparently just 1 more spot to get rid of that. And now we should be all good. So we can go to star map mode, and the hive seems to be basically completely out of the way, so that should be great.
Flight mode.
So we're off.
Cruise mode.
That was just coincidentally pointing in the right direction somehow, which I'm not going to complain about. So off we go. And at this point we need to put the fuel in so that we don't run out. And we just keep going forwards. And we're already traveling at max speed. So we're off. Now we just have to hope that enough titanium actually makes it through to this new production stuff to get stuff done that I need to. Because it is all just going to get split, like half of it going to each thing along the line. So we're going to be making a lot of random junk, I think, but not easy to fix that with how this is set up. And really not easy to fix that basically no matter how it's set up. Okay, so now we just need to land somewhere that isn't directly on top of dark fog, and then find our way over to our outpost, which is weirdly hard to find this time. Where is it? Okay, it's all the way... Where even is that relative to me? That is... Oh, am I literally just right... No, that's a box. That's not me. Yeah, no, it's on the other side of the planet. Okay. I would say, I thought that box was me, and I thought I was somehow standing right next to it. That would have been quite a surprise. So I think if we just head in this direction, we should come across it eventually. Yeah, there it is. And almost there. Alright. We made it, and we can just pick up all this stuff. At some point I should do something about the random iron and copper ore. It's just like in there for no reason. Alright, so that is another couple boxfuls of titanium. And the fuel is still doing fuel stuff. Yeah, let's get that pop out of the way and get set up to return. So off we go. Alright. Let's see here. This should be plenty of power to at least get started.
Cruise mode.
Off we go. And we can accelerate. We're not going to be especially fast because we don't have enough power to get up to max, but still get there reasonably quickly. And we just fly on over. So we will be there any second now. So we can use a little bit more power to accelerate to get ETA under a minute. It's still a pretty long trip though. So once we get back, we just drop all the titanium off into a box and then pick up our inventory again. And hopefully that will give us access to interstellar logistics stuff, and we can just go from there. Figure out how to build stuff on other planets, and that will be quite nice to have. So we are just cruising on through space. It's very funny that they make the game like completely silent when you're doing this. It's of course scientifically accurate, but it just feels weird. Okay, so we land,
Cruise ended.
and it's a good thing you can just throw yourself at the ground and just bounce off and not have problems. Otherwise, I would have died so many times by now. Okay, let's stand here for a little bit to charge up just enough to get down to the, what's it called? The titanium box. Alright, 200 some should be a reasonable amount, especially because we have fuel in the chamber, so it's gonna take us a lot further than it usually would. So we fly down to here. Looks like... There we go. And there we go. And then we've got a little bit extra, which will be useful at some point. Now we fly back up to our main charging port to get all that sorted. So all the way down this way. And this is also where our inventory is, so we can pick that up. Alright, so we land. And we just grab everything from there. And stand in the middle of the chargers. How much power? Alright, we're up to 25 gigajoules of power accumulated, which means that I think we must have gotten it back to a stable level at this point.
Flight mode.
And so now we can just see if anything is happening down here. The answer is no, but maybe. There is some stuff, actually. Yeah, we are getting the occasional titanium alloy through. It's taking absolutely ages, but it is happening bit by bit. And that's one of the downsides of this sort of system, is that it can seriously struggle with like getting reasonable throughputs on things, because everything just gets sent through so many splitters that like it's going to be a long time before we get anything out of this. How much titanium alloy do we even need to get one? We need 10 titanium alloy and 2 thrusters. And then the thrusters themselves need how much titanium alloy? They need 5, so it's like 20 titanium alloy per vessel, basically. And a titanium alloy is 4... Okay, well, it's 1-to-1 in terms of titanium. Just add some other stuff. But then the ingot is 2-to-1. So basically, it's all very expensive. So it's like, what, 40 titanium ore per logistics vessel, I think, is probably about the number. Somewhere around there. And then that's not counting all the other things that those are going to. That's getting first dibs on it, like the yellow science. So yeah, it's gonna be tough getting this. Okay, we do have one getting produced now. Success. Alright, so that is one interstellar logistics vessel. So we've got that. And now we can set these up somehow. Okay, so first, I guess first we should set up the planetary logistics stuff to do something. Who knows how that's gonna work though. So I think it's just like a tower that you put things in, and then it can send them to other towers, sort of like the drones but longer range. So let's fly down here because we have all this extra titanium in our inventory that we might as well drop off just to keep it all topped off. And that ought to be good. Our titanium ore smelting is also not tremendously fast, which doesn't help. And it also looks like our proliferator production has just completely given up. Like, is there any of this stuff? Yeah, no, there's basically just not enough proliferator to go around for anything at this point. So we're going to have to fix that. Alright, let's get these things set up. So, fly over here. This is the interstellar logistics system, so we can just grab 10 of those. And the planetary logistics systems, we have none in storage because they all get transformed into interstellar ones instantly. And do we have any just like on the belts? We do. Alright, well, I'll pick up a couple of those just so that we can have them. And then you should never use a PLS. Why? What's wrong with it? I assume it's just the same thing, but only for planetary stuff? Or is it completely different? Okay, just a worse version. That makes sense. Okay, so we can... Okay, this is quite big though. Is it... Okay, they have, I think, the same footprint. Maybe slightly different.
You've built an interstellar logistics station.
Okay.
Which serves as the primary hub for interstellar transportation.
Very cool.
With its assistance,
Thank you,
manual
tutorial.
cargo transportation among planets is no longer necessary.
Thank goodness for that.
Set the station on the supplying planets as interstellar supply. The interstellar logistics vessels will automatically deliver cargo to stations in interstellar demand on other planets. If set to local supply or local demand, they will serve as planetary logistics stations.
So you can just do that. Okay, there are a lot of slots, and I assume each of these is like a thing that it can ask for and or deliver. There are a lot of buttons on here. There are a lot of buttons on here. So, let's take that out actually, because my main goal here is I want to get the titanium and silicon stuff automated, right? Like that's the stuff that I'm importing from other planets right now. So we're going to want this to be like all the way down this way. So we fly on over. And this trip is getting so incredibly long. It's fine. Apparently we're also just out of silicon again, so it'll be nice to have that automated. So, interstellar logistics station goes in there. Now, we need you to just output... Can you just output on a belt? Yes. Okay, so you just output on a belt, and how does this... Because if we have multiple things coming out of here, it's gonna, like... Is there some way of setting this? Maybe if we set that as remote receiver, right? So that should bring in the titanium. And then there's a filter pop-up which disappears. How do I even select that? How do I select that filter pop-up so that I can actually use it? I've seen the filter pop up. Oh wait, okay, they're hotkeys, so I can just do that. Yes. Alright. So that should provide the titanium. And now the way this box is set up is a little bit awkward, but probably not the end of the world. So then we also want you to grab the silicon, probably. And then that just has to get brought over to there. And we just take out one of you. And there we go. So now the silicon comes out this way. We've unlocked the miniature particle collider, which I'm sure will be useful at some point. We just keep unlocking things and not getting around to building them yet. But I'm sure it'll happen eventually, and it'll be real cool. So now this belt... So this is the ugly part of the factory where I did not have things quite set up correctly, and it's really unpleasant. Alright, so that needs to sort of go around like this so that it can slope up to get over all that stuff. And then you go in like that. And it'll all be good. Okay. So that should be all clear for both of those. And then we just need to actually set the stations up on the other side to actually provide those. So the titanium is absolutely getting completely obliterated. So we need to do these. So I think if we just give you the interstellar logistics vessels, that should hopefully we won't need to supply them to the other ones at the destination places. Alright, cool. So that will be convenient because it means I won't have to constantly be heading back and forth every time I make more of those. Okay, so now we just need to take these. We've got plenty of those. We just need to take them out to the other planets. But also, while I'm there, I need to set up, because these are kind of expensive, I want to set up actual defenses there instead of just hoping that the dark fog doesn't show up. So we can just do laser turrets and solar panels / accumulators, and just use those to hopefully defend the bases. So yeah, we can fly up here to grab solar panels and accumulators, and we shouldn't need that many for them. Yep, it'll work for the first few attacks. And, I mean, the idea is basically that, at least for now, not much will be happening there, and we won't have to worry about much more than the first few attacks. And then at some point, we'll actually just go and fight Dark Fog and kick them off the planets.
Flight mode.
Alright, so we have everything we need, and this time we don't need to empty out our inventory or anything, because we're just building stuff there. Solar panels, check. Accumulators, check. Laser turrets, check. And interstellar logistics stations, check. Alright, so that should be everything. Yeah, we are closing in on getting to the point where we can do interstellar stuff. So now we go star map. Please say the hive isn't in the way. Oh yes, the hive isn't in the way. Good. So we can set that up, and now we just have to... Oh, we have to actually be in controlling ourselves mode. And now we're off. Wait, did I bring fuel? Did I bring fuel. I did not bring that much. Alright, let's return real quick.
Cruise ended.
And just
Flight mode.
bring another stack or two of fuel. Because we are going to be going to 2 separate planets this time. Which means it might actually use a decent chunk of it. Alright, so where is just like the closest fuel supply? This is all getting used instantly. So I will have to fly over to the old base. So we'll fly over to here where I actually have just a box full of combustible units. And we can just grab those to make sure we do not run out. Okay, that will be more than enough fuel. It's actually just definitely overkill, but it's fine. So now we throw
Flight
those
mode.
in, and off we go.
Cruise mode.
So we accelerate, and we manage to get reasonably quick. So off we go towards Agino 1. And we can set stuff up there. And hopefully I didn't forget anything. I don't think I've forgotten anything, but it's always possible. I think I double checked. There's always the possibility that there's just something I didn't even consider. Like, I think I have power poles, for example. I'm pretty sure I have enough belts that it shouldn't be an issue. So we just need to make it over here. And hopefully we won't have to do these trips nearly as often from now on. Alright, so we land.
Cruise ended.
And where is our base? It is somewhere. Okay, it's here. And we are here. So if we just head west-ish.
Flight mode.
Not sure the exact direction on this one, but it should be somewhere over here. Yeah, okay, we weren't that far. Although we are super low on power right now, so I'm going to try to walk if possible. And this is unfortunately the planet which doesn't have the power charger thing. Although actually I just have one of these, don't I? Because that was one of the things I was setting up. Alright, so we set that up. We lay down, like, I don't know, a couple accumulators. I don't think I need to be extremely scientific with this. A couple accumulators, a couple solar panels. Should be fine. Then we can get the interstellar logistics system in, and you can just go like there. And oh, yeah, that's gonna be taking a lot of power, isn't it? It sure is. Alright. So then we don't really need to do much there, so that gets connected up. And are these solar panels even working? Not fantastically, but it should be fine in general. So how many solar panels do we have here? This was 3 times 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is like 30-ish solar panels already. So I think I want to do just like 50 each. 50 on each planet is what I mean. Okay, so that goes out to there. That could go out to there. And that should get us to 50 solar panels, which I think is half of what we took. So, solar panels, check. And accumulators, just get a couple more of these in because of how many solar panels we have. And that should be fine. I think eventually Like, hopefully this doesn't actually need that much power. But you then get set up to be a remote provider of titanium ore. I apparently got an achievement of some kind. Very cool. And now the power grid is like 50%. Probably most of that is this. Yeah, literally half is this. And hopefully that'll just work itself out eventually. It's not all that much that we can do if it doesn't. Oh, and we need to actually set this up differently because this is just outputting directly into the box. So we actually need this to output on the box to output onto these belts so that this mining machine can actually get used. Okay, so that is that. And this is all going. Max charging power is 60 megawatts, so hopefully this just won't be needed as much, like once it's fully charged up. Hopefully they can get most of their power from the other side or something. Alright, so that is that planet sort of tentatively done. We might need more. Oh wait, I didn't put the lasers in. So the lasers might be a bit rough here if the power demand is going to be like this. But let's just put a couple of these guys around. And I don't know how densely these need to be placed or anything. Oh yes, shoot, I don't have the resources for that. That's the thing which I should have thought of but didn't. Okay, that will have to be something which I come back for because I don't have the resources for it here and it's going to be super annoying to get them. So we will just get these guys powered up and hopefully the laser turrets can just, I mean, hopefully we can just not get attacked super often here and it'll be fine. So now these guys just all connect up and Dark Fog is definitely getting angrier at us now. Those numbers are getting pretty high, but yeah, the numbers are getting quite high. Don't like that. $150k iron left on starting planet. Where does it say that? How did you know that? Like, I know you can check, but let's see here. I've got like 2 million iron left. So we're still doing well on that front for us. Alright, so then we will just get you. Oh, you play on 50% nodes? That's scary. I like my nodes not running out of stuff. Okay, so let's just put more fuel in, and then we will get the other planet set up this same setup. And then we will just get that done. And then we're probably going to have to deal with Dark Fog on these alternate planets very soon. But that will be a job for next stream, because we're coming up to where I normally wrap up. So I'm just going to build this one last thing, and then probably wrap up the stream from there. So we just need to get all the way over to here. And land. Okay, now where are we on this planet? I guess the giant tower sticking out will also just coincidentally make it easier to find where we're going to. I think it looked like it was like this way. Not entirely sure. looked like it was this way, though. Actually, that's like right by the poles. Or was it just on the other side of the planet? Yeah, okay, so we've gotten the milestone for actually successfully delivering the titanium. So that's cool. So that can be automated. And that attack on Agena 1 is about to happen in like 10 seconds, which is not ideal. Alright, so we get you down. And then we get you connected up, and goodbye to the power grid. Then we get a giant row of solar panels. And just build up a whole bunch of these guys. Like so, and then just a little bit extra. And then we need our accumulators as well, which I think we don't need all that many of them, at least from past experience. But we just get those in. And now that should hopefully provide us with power once the sun comes up. Although we are kind of close to the poles, so this isn't actually like the ideal place to be doing this in terms of getting sun year-round, but it should be fine. Alright, so now the solar panels are starting up, and the grid is getting to the point where it's actually useful. Grid load of 800 some percent is not what you want to see, but it's fine. So now we have all this stuff barely going. You can be a remote provider of silicon, and then we just need to get these belts around. So that just sort of wraps around like that, and then in. And then that one connects up as well. And that should be good as long as the power works, which it definitely isn't, but that's going to just be something that we come back to fix later. So now we just throw some laser turrets around. And these just go in random spots, not thinking too hard about this. And then they get Tesla towers so that they can actually shoot. And that will be that. Okay, those ones didn't actually need the Tesla towers, they just needed power. So even during daytime, this is still only 50%, just like it was on the other side. So we're going to need to go and bring like a bunch of solar panels down here to make this work. But it should theoretically be semi-functional. And with that, I think we're just going to head back to the main base and call it a day once we get there. So where is our main... Oh, the hive is like right on top of us. That's worrying.
A landing relay station detected.
Oh boy, that's... Where are you landing? Oh, you're landing here. Great. Love that for me. Please don't land like directly on top of me. That would be rude. Yeah, there you are. Okay, you're landing on the other side of the planet. So that's nice. And now I guess we get to see how close you can be to the space hive without exploding. Because it is right on top of us. But I'm just gonna try to hope that it doesn't care about me and fly away as fast as possible.
Extraterrestrial dark fog is assaulting.
Yep, alright. So they're sending 8 units towards the planetary base on Planet 1. Alright, so now we're off. And fortunately they didn't attack us, and it seems like our turrets did deal with the raid somehow or other. So that's good. All seems good. And now we can just get back to the base and call it a day there. So off we go. And almost there. All right, we are about to land.
Cruise ended.
We've managed to land on the exact opposite side of the planet from anything, it seems. Just the tail end of our solar power stuff here. So let's fly back into somewhere relevant. And then just get to a charger. Alright, so here we are. And
extraterrestrial
that's
dark
about it.
fog is assaulting.
Attacking again over on Agino 1. Again, we just have to hope that that is defeated. But I think this is a good spot to wrap up. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Had a lot of fun here today. I will be doing Factorio tomorrow, and then we'll be back to Dyson Sphere program on Tuesday. So if you're interested in that, I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, playing various factory building games. So make sure to give me a follow if you haven't already, so that you know when I'm live and what I'm doing. And that's about it. So yeah, thanks Ev for hanging out. Had a lot of fun here.